The Galactic Council had seen countless species rise and fall across the spiral arms of the Milky Way. They had witnessed civilizations that could bend reality itself, races that lived in the hearts of stars, and empires that spanned entire nebulae, but nothing had prepared them for humanity. Elizabeth Chen stood at the observation deck of the Odyssey, Earth's first deep space diplomatic vessel, watching the swirling clouds of the gas giant below. Her reflection stared back at her from the reinforced glass, dark eyes that had seen too many negotiations fail, hair pulled back in a practical bun that spoke of someone who valued function over form. As Earth's chief diplomat, she had been thrust into a galaxy that viewed her species as little more than curious primitives. "They're here," Noah Rodriguez announced from behind her, his voice carrying the weight of military precision. The security commander had been her shadow for 3 years now, ever since Earth made first contact with the Zetherian Empire. His hand instinctively moved to the plasma sidearm at his hip, a gesture Elizabeth had seen 1,000 times. Through the viewport, 3 massive vessels materialized from quantum space, their hulls shimmering with technology that humanity was still decades from understanding. The Galactic Council had arrived. "How many species this time?" Elizabeth asked, turning from the window. Noah consulted his datapad, his weathered face illuminated by its blue glow. 7, the Zetherians, of course. The Krillian Collective, the Veshan Communion, He paused, his expression darkening. The Korthax Dominion. Elizabeth's jaw tightened. The Korthax had voted 3 times to exclude humanity from the Council, citing their violent nature and primitive aggression. It was a bitter irony that the species most opposed to human membership had themselves conquered 47 star systems. Through brutal subjugation, "Let them come," she said softly. "We've prepared for this." The diplomatic chamber was a marvel of engineering, a neutral space constructed in the void between their vessels, where gravity, atmosphere, and even time could be adjusted to accommodate the varied biology of council members. Elizabeth and Noah entered through the human airlock, their magnetic boots clicking against the metallic floor. The council representatives were already assembled. Ambassador Thexolar of the Zetherians, a being of crystalline structure and pulsing light, nodded respectfully. The Veshan representative, a floating mass of bioluminescent tentacles, rippled in what Elizabeth had learned was their equivalent of a greeting. But it was High Executor Vorn of the Korthax who commanded attention. A towering figure of chitinous armor and forearms, each ending in razor-sharp talons. "Humans." Vorn's voice resonated through the translation matrix, dripping with disdain. "You have requested an audience to plead your case for council membership. Again." Elizabeth stepped forward, her boots echoing in the vast chamber. Noah remained 2 paces behind, his hand never straying far from his weapon. "High Executor, esteemed council members," Elizabeth began, her voice steady despite the crushing weight of what was at stake. "We come not to plead, but to demonstrate." A holographic display materialized at her gesture, showing Earth's solar system. Saturn filled the projection, its rings glittering with captured ice and rock. "You have observed humanity for 5 standard cycles," Elizabeth continued. "You have cataloged our wars, our conflicts, our capacity for violence. But you have missed what makes us truly unique." Vorn's mandibles clicked in irritation. "Your arrogance is Titan," Elizabeth interrupted, zooming the projection to Saturn's largest moon. 2 months ago, your long-range sensors detected an anomaly here, a massive energy signature that appeared and vanished within moments. You assumed it was a malfunction in your equipment. The council members shifted, their various forms of body language conveying sudden interest. Noah allowed himself the ghost of a smile. "It was not a malfunction," Elizabeth said. Her eyes locked on Vorn. "It was us." The hologram changed, showing footage that had been classified at the highest levels of Earth's government. A structure was rising from Titan's frozen surface, a construction so massive it dwarfed the mountains themselves. Fusion reactors the size of cities powered energy shields that held back the moon's methane atmosphere. Excavation machines tore into the ice, extracting water and minerals. And everywhere humans worked alongside their machines, building something unprecedented. Project Prometheus, Elizabeth explained, a fully self-sustaining colony, constructed in 97 days using only resources from Titan itself. No support from Earth, no advanced alien technology, just human ingenuity, determination, and the ability to thrive in conditions that would kill most species in the Council. Ambassador Thexolar's crystalline form pulsed with rapid frequency. Impossible. Our own colonization efforts require centuries of preparation, orbital infrastructure, supply chain spanning. We don't have centuries, Noah spoke for the first time, his voice cutting through the chamber like a blade. We have what we've always had, the ability to adapt or die, and humans don't die easy. Elizabeth pulled up more data. Atmospheric processors converting Titan's nitrogen-rich air into breathable oxygen, hydroponic farms already producing food, fusion plants generating enough power to support 10,000 colonists. Children were being born on Titan. Families were building homes in the shadow of Saturn's rings. You call us violent, Elizabeth said, her voice rising with passion. You call us primitive. But while you debate and deliberate across light years of space, we terraformed a moon. While you rely on technology older than our entire civilization, we innovate every single day. You see our conflicts and judge us weak, but those conflicts forged us into survivors. The projection shifted again, showing human history in rapid sequence. The first tools, the first fires, the first cities. Wars and peace, destruction and creation, failure and triumph. The invention of writing, of medicine, of flight. The splitting of the atom. The first steps on Luna. And now Titan. Every species in this council had a head start of millions of years, Elizabeth continued. The Zetherians achieved spaceflight when Earth was still covered in dinosaurs. The Korthax built their empire before humanity even existed. But we caught up. In a cosmic eye blink, we went from caves to colonies, and we did it alone. Vorn's forearms crossed over his chest. This proves nothing except your recklessness. You expand too quickly, consume too voraciously. You are a threat to what? Noah stepped forward now, his military bearing impossible to ignore. To your comfortable dominance? To the natural order where humanity knows its place? He gestured to the hologram. That's 15,000 humans living and working on Titan right now. They're not soldiers. They're families, engineers, teachers, children who will grow up knowing that Saturn's rings are their night sky, and they did it because we asked them to believe in something bigger than themselves. Elizabeth placed a hand on Noah's shoulder, a silent signal. He stepped back, but his point had been made. Council members, Elizabeth addressed them formally. Humanity requests membership not because we need your protection or your technology. We'll survive with or without you, we always have. We request membership because the galaxy is better when different perspectives work together. Because our primitive aggression is really just an unwillingness to accept limitations. Because when you said Titan couldn't be colonized in less than a century, we took it as a challenge. The chamber fell silent. Elizabeth could see the council members conferring through their neural networks, their quantum communicators, their psionic bonds. Alien minds deliberating the fate of humanity. Finally, Ambassador Thexolar spoke. The council will vote. The process took only moments. One by one, the representatives signaled their decision. The Veshan Communion approved. The Krillian Collective approved. The Zetherians approved. Vorn was the last. His mandibles worked silently, four eyes staring at Elizabeth with something that might have been respect. The Korthax Dominion, he said slowly, approves. Elizabeth's breath caught in her chest. Noah's hand found her shoulder, squeezing once. Humanity, Thexolar announced, their crystalline form blazing with light, is hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Council. Welcome, Titans of Earth. As the diplomatic chamber dissolved and the ships began their return journeys, Elizabeth and Noah stood alone in the Odyssey's observation deck once more. Saturn hung in the void below them, and somewhere on its frozen moon, 15,000 humans were building tomorrow. They called us Titans, Noah said quietly. Elizabeth smiled, watching the council ships vanish into quantum space. Let's make sure we live up to the name. On Titan's surface, construction continued. Humanity had been noticed, and the galaxy would never be the same.